HelloModels.com. We're here in San Bosco in the 16th Century Garden. I have my man Duda. Say hi to Models.com. I think about fantasy. I think about, making work that's not so much derived from hurt and pain and even joy. I think there's other conversations that are sort of happening within me, and I think that's something that I'm trying to continue to explore in my studio practice as well as in my fashion photography. I think that's something that's going to continue to push the conversation forward as we progress in this world and as we change the world and make it a better place.
We're backstage with Joshua Wood on the set of Wall Street Journal's Barmazzo Blues.
I'm a photographer, filmmaker, artist. We're here in Rome today. We are here with Models.com. Welcome to my life, baby. Some of my favorite collaborators are some of the most amazing stylists in the world. Ellie Grace Cummings, who's here with us today in Rome, making this beautiful story. Imru Asha, Leticia Jimenez, Haley Rowlands, Gabriella Karifa Johnson, Patience Harding, Jawara, Aurora Jibrian, Jan Turkey, Lolita and John Baptiste. I'm really grateful and blessed to be able to create and make some beautiful images with my friends and collaborators. Working with a set designer and a photographer, building the image and working with a stylist and sort of to dress the sort of character you want to sort of tell, their stories and whatnot. So it's really collaborative. The most crazy situation I might have been in was when we shot Travis Scott for another magazine, again with Ellie Grace Cummings. We were in Paris. He did a collaboration with Dior, and we had 6 looks total to get on him. We agreed to get those 6 looks. At the end of the show, after the 3rd look, he was like, "Oh, I'm done, man. I don't want to shoot anymore. That's it. I want to go celebrate my friends. I'm done." And I was just like, "No, man. Look. Dior's not going to talk to him. Matt, nobody's going to talk to him. I got to talk to him. Look, man. There's 3 more looks we got to get, and we need to get these looks in." He runs outside, talks to his fans. He's running all over the place. He's like, "Okay." I just remember seeing Ellie run down the runway like we were in gym class, speeding to get the other looks. And we ended up getting them, and Travis gave us some more time and told me we could do it again another time when we have some more time. Yeah, working with Travis Scott, the flame, out of this world. I have a lot of friends whose work inspires me today, not just in fashion, but across all the arts. I think today we're living in such a crazy time where everything is so connected, and that sort of reflects on the artist and the contemporary conversation of the art that's being made across all genres. So whether that's in culinary arts or filmmaking to photography, some of my greatest friends make some of the most amazing work that inspires me to sort of live a life of poetry, and sort of poetry in motion, is how I sort of see my images being made and created, and sort of catalog building of interesting people, interesting conversations and topics. So some of my most amazing friends, Eric Max of the world, the Ghetto Gastro crew, to Henry Taylor's amazing paintings, to Momo Akabe, Japanese photographer Takashi Oma. Some of the artists who influence me and who influence my work today are the likes of Gordon Parks, Anthony Barbosa, Nan Golden, Momo Akabe. It's just a whirlwind of photographers, works who sort of inspire me. And it goes beyond that to my other contemporaries who are making contemporary work to stay. This sort of highbrow, lowbrow sort of influx of pop to politics, and this sort of whirlwind of things that sort of shaping and shifting culture today. I'm sort of inspired by all of those sort of things, and they create my work, and they create the sort of poetry that I sort of live by. And I guess that continues to inspire me to want to create more work within this context, because I really feel like these times today, all these individuals and these powerful players, the Eric Max of the world, the Theaster Gates of the world, and this crossover between fashion and art, and everybody's making beautiful work and changing the way we live and the way we think, and it's inspiring, and it helps inform my work, and it helps inform the work I want to make. It informs the person I want to be and the person I want to become, and continue to build that legacy and leave that, to my children and to my family and my friends. My early relationships to images were as a youngin' looking through my mother's photo albums and seeing the life that she was living and really taking in what she was doing, the life that she was living through the images. Her and my dad were traveling around the world, having such great parties, and she documented all of it, and she organized all of it. She was very organized about keeping her negatives around and keeping her film in the right place and keeping all her photos and photo albums. And it was inspiring to see how organized it was. There was inspiration in the organization and the archiving of it. And still to this day, I'm still developing images that I'm finding in her apartment from the 80s and 90s of me that I hadn't seen, and my family that I hadn't seen, and sort of unlocking these portals and this sort of continual conversation that my mom sort of had with the world and her life, and coming from the South Bronx, taking the 6 train down to Soho to hang out with, to go to Studio 54 with her and her friends and stuff, and she was living that life early, and it kind of rubbed off on me. I guess there was some sort of interjection and transfer of energies that sort of carried over to me and the life that I'm living, today, and I want to give a shout out to my mom and really thank her for being organized. I challenge myself by just doing research, reading. My face is always in a book. I'm always thinking about new ideas, writing new ideas down, and letting them marinate. If I had to give some advice to a younger photographer, I would just say make work. Make a lot of work. Make good work, make bad work, just make work. Find a couple people that, can give you some advice and can give you some ideas. Put yourself around people who are inspiring. Create a critique around yourself and around your work that is gonna make your work better, I'm always sending my work to my friends, they always give me the greatest advice, some of my biggest ideas have been through just conversations with my friends. It's important to keep the right people around you in your circle. A lot of the work I was making in the beginning of my career, I thought was really bad, and then I made a book out of it, 2012 to 2017, when I was just sort of documenting backstage. I thought I would never put that work out, no one would ever see that work, it wouldn't matter, but it actually helped shape the way I think and the way I see and what my interests are, by just kind of throwing myself into the fire. I didn't assist any photographers. I just kind of learned by seeing and trial and error. I think that's how you sort of build your voice. You gotta try a lot of things, and don't be afraid to fail. Some of the best things come out of failure. So it's important to remember that when you're making things and not put too much pressure on yourself. You'll be all right. Thank you, models.com, for hanging out with me today in Rome. It's just the beginning. 2024, up to score. Yes, sir.